Welcome to a brand new CornNation Overreaction Revisited. We do this show for you every week, of course, on the favorite podcast app of your choosing. But if you like us in video form, we're on YouTube, Facebook, and X. I'm your host, Greg Mahochko. You know me from the 5 Heart Podcast, live every Thursday night, 9 o'clock Central on Facebook, YouTube, and X. I'm not going to do it again. But you also know this guy here because he was a long time co-host of the 5 Heart Podcast, and he still does some drop-ins occasionally. I'm very looking forward to sitting down with him as we amp up a new football season in the summertime. But Haas Reuter, my friend, how are you?
I'm good, Greg. How are you? It's good seeing you again this week.
It has been a long time, and tell you what, if I was any better, I'd be well, I think we talked about in text messages about the only thing that I'd rather be doing right about now. So,
Yep. But off-air conversations remain off-air. That's the policy.
That's right. That curtain only gets pulled back so far.
Yep.
Well, what we've been doing this week or this spring is we've been taking a emotionally detached rewatch or review of our CornNation Overreactions from the 2023 football campaign. So we've gone through the horrors and the miseries that were the loss at Minnesota, the loss at Colorado. Last week, we talked about Nebraska's first win of the season, which was in front of the home crowd against Northern Illinois. And now we're turning our attention to Louisiana Tech because they were in town on, we had a little bit of we didn't have a bye week. Never mind. It was the September 23rd.
We had a lightning delay that day, though.
Oh, my gosh. This last thing we needed was more lightning delays. Over 87,000 in attendance would see Nebraska win its second straight, get its record of the season to 2-2 on the season and 0-1-0 in the conference, of course. That was the Minnesota game, winning 28-14 at home. Haas, I think for this one, as I kind of look back at the game, getting out of the gate a little slow.
Yeah.
On that and doing nothing, the old nothing burger in the first quarter. I mean,
something you don't see all that often in college football anymore.
Well, not against let's say, put it nicely, a lower division team like Louisiana Tech. Again, kind of like Northern Illinois, we talked about last week. That Nebraska's recent history with these group of 5 schools has not been elite, we'll say. We talked about Northern Illinois in 2017 and what that happened. Of course, Southern Miss a couple of years back. But, you got to do something. You got to get out, especially in front of the home crowd. You've got to get out of the gate a little faster. Yeah,
you don't want the natives to start getting restless in a home game setting like this when you've already lost 2 games and it's only the 4th week of the season. But this was a game where, as I told you off air, it felt like I was watching a game from the 1980s or 1990s.
Explain that, because, people who, when they hear Nebraska football in the 80s and the 90s, they just think dominant, overpowering the opposition. We wish that was the case, but this was more from the schematic standpoint, right?
Yep. Schematic standpoint and the game management standpoint, it was very much a methodical approach. We ran just about every run scheme that you could think of in this game. And I know Matt Rule mentioned it after the game about how hard it was, how it was a testament to the assistant coaches for getting the guys ready, because how hard it is to house a 70-yard play, on a speed option and then follow it up to score the next play running 2-back power out of the I formation, the fullback kicking the end and the backside guard wrapping around. And so it was very much like you're watching, the popular offenses of the 80s and 90s. And then on top of that, the little bit of a slow start contributed to, playing the field position game, really trying to, win in all 3 phases. You even saw a fake field goal that got busted out with Timmy Bleakroad, the holder, basically running power behind a pulling Ethan Piper for a first down. And then you really saw us, really unleashed the option offense, like I was talking about earlier in terms of scheme. With, I think Harburg had 2 long touchdown runs and could have had a third, but it got called back for kind of a ticky-tack holding penalty. And so when you look at all that, it was definitely playing old school football. There were some issues that we had in terms of our own kick coverage, where Smoke Harris for Louisiana Tech housed one on us, but I think it was thankfully, mercifully called back because of the penalty. So, yeah, it was just a very much a case of grinding an opponent down and overpowering them physically by the end of the game, despite the slow start.
And I would almost venture to say that the defense didn't look as crisp against Louisiana Tech as they did the week prior against the Huskies. You look at, just kind of team statistics here. Nebraska still outgained the competition, but it was much closer, 419 to 338. And, the Louisiana Tech's Bulldogs, Vipers, I don't know what the hell they are.
They're the Bulldogs.
I figured. But they had almost 300 yards passing. Don't want to see that too often.
They had, to their credit, they had a really good game plan, I thought. They really looked to get the ball out fast. I think Hank Bachmeier, their starting quarterback, got the ball out fast. They had a receiver, Smoke Harris, who I think is the only explosive receiver in college football you'll see who has a beer gut. With that one. And then Sonny Cumbie's their head coach, air raid coordinator. He's at TCU under Gary Patterson, Doug Meacham. He's been at Texas Tech. So definitely, had a good game plan to kind of control our front or negate our front a little bit by getting the ball out fast on the perimeter.
I'm never one to correct you unless I have to correct you.
Yeah.
The quarterback was Jack Turner.
Bachmeier was injured. That is right.
So,
okay. Thank you.
And Turner went 27 of 42 for 292 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
27 of 42 for how many?
292. So, by my
about 10.8 per completion, but 292 divided by, or what was the yardage total?
292.
292 divided by how many attempts?
42.
6.9 yards per attempt. So,
or completion.
I'd rather go by attempts because
Okay.
you have to take in totality, how many times they threw. Played well, defensively, even though they really did negate our pass rush. So, this is a game where, did we get out of it unscathed in terms of injury?
Harburg had, I don't know if he lost the helmet or something. He had to come because Chubba Purdy had to come in for one play, which was
Jeff Sims ran the wrong way when he came in.
He's not. He is in here. Yeah, for a 2-yard loss. That's not ideal. It was a bit of a shit show in that regard. But here's the thing: talking about Nebraska kind of doubling down on the run. You're not looking at the stats, right?
No.
So
I was writing something down to make a note, later.
Perfect. So Nebraska netted 419 yards. How many of those do you think were through the air? How many on the ground?
I bet we threw for 120.
You're actually a lot closer than I would have been had I not looked at these. Heinrich was 8 for 17 for $107 with 1 touchdown, no interceptions, but was sacked 3 times.
They were getting after him pretty good too in that first half.
And those sacks, recorded, 26 yards of loss for a net of 157 yards on the ground. He did have a 70. You mentioned he broke a couple. He did have a 72-yard run. Anthony Grant finished with 22 carries for 135 yards. Timmy Bleekrode was in there, 1 carry for 10 yards. Billy Kemp probably on a jet sweep, if I had to guess.
Yeah, he scored on a jet sweep.
And for one carry for 9 yards. That's what that one was. Emmett Johnson, I think, gets his first touches of the season, 2 carries for 6 yards. And then, the Jeff Sims wrong way, do not enter type of I guess with the benefit of hindsight, we kind of talk about this. I think that's why we do this show in this format. It's the comedy of errors. We can look back and laugh, right?
Yep.
Right?
And you got to be able to. When you haven't been to a bowl game since the Obama administration, you got to laugh at yourself.
Are we?
I think we're.
So, a question.
Yeah.
Well, no, I guess no matter what, and I'm not trying to be political.
We'll play a bowl game before a president's inaugurated.
Right. So we'll go to a bowl game during the Biden administration.
Yes.
All right. That's as far politics as we're getting, folks.
Yeah, because we don't do that here.
We're just trying to equate the time of it.
Yeah. I wanted to make a note when I wrote down earlier when you're talking about the yardage totals for everyone. Billy Kemp scores on that jet sweep. That was the first touchdown of the game, if I recall correctly.
I can definitely verify that.
Yep.
That's what I'll do. I'll verify that right now.
Trust, but verify.
There's not it. Wait, there. No. It was in the second quarter. I'm
pretty sure it was the first touchdown of the game that we scored.
Yeah, but I don't have. Hold on. Womp womp. Okay. Yeah. It just didn't show up properly. 11:31 left in the second quarter.
So one of the things that stood out to me when I rewatched this is the really nice job, and I did not recognize this in game because, when you're watching it in live, you just want to watch your team, there's room for a little bit of analysis, but it's just surface level stuff. It's not anything deep or hard hitting. When I rewatched it, I noticed that Louisiana Tech had been in a bear front for most of the first quarter. That was kind of their game plan, to put a nose guard over our center and two defensive tackle over each of our guards, on their outside shoulders as three techniques. So they're really trying to take away the threat of the inside run. And going into that, our game plan was kind of predicated on trying to run inside. And then props to the offensive coaching staff as that first quarter kind of unfolded and they got a couple of drives under our belts and they were able to kind of get to the sideline, kind of whiteboard some things and look at what adjustments they needed to make. They started to hit Louisiana Tech on the perimeter a little bit more. So you got that jet sweep to Kemp. We started running a little bit of toss sweep to Anthony Grant. We started running speed option and some freeze option with Harburg to the perimeter. So it was a really nice job of kind of looking at what they were doing to take away what we were trying to do. And then from there, countering that with putting speed in space.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that coaches made adjustments?
Yes.
I didn't think that was allowed in Lincoln.
Yeah, it's been kind of a hush-hush thing going back to the Bo Pelini era, Frank Solich era. Yeah.
Oh, all the way back to the Frank Solich era, huh?
Yeah.
Oof. It is nice to know when they're, exploiting weaknesses. I mean, because it's been happening to Nebraska for decades.
That's what drives me nuts when I watch a lot of other teams than I watch Nebraska. Is I watch other teams and they just – hey, there's open space here. Let's check into a play. Let's get the ball out into that vacated area. Let's make the routine play.
Mm-hmm.
Take what the defense gives you. And then you get the infamous Bill Callahan, we don't take what the defense gives us. We take what we want, quote from 2004, 2005. And that's been something, what?
I was going to say, is that not what – did Scott Frost, paraphrase that in his introductory press conference? He's like, well, we hope that the Big Ten's going to have to adjust to us or adapt to us.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Now, we should have known right there.
Yeah.
That was such a chest swell moment for Husker fans. Yeah, we should have, instead of, raising our arms of victory, we should have been getting the torches and pitchforks at that moment.
But instead, when he said it, it was all like we had just taken some Blue Chew.
Touche.
Sorry, couldn't resist.
That reminds me.
But No, going back for a long time, Nebraska has made it harder on ourselves. We have made it harder on ourselves than it needs to be. Make the routine play. Take the yards that are there. You can't go broke making a profit every play. If you pick up 4 yards and it's 2nd and 6, and you pick up another 4 yards, you're in 3rd and 2. You pick up another 4 yards, you got a fresh set of downs.
Can I piggyback off of that? And I know we're I don't want to say we're getting off topic, but
it's tangential, but it's still related.
Tim Beck did the exact opposite.
Timmy.
Because he found, he had something that was working, and then after halftime would abandon that strategy, and then we'd end up losing ground or making game more competitive than it should have been. He was making adjustments when they weren't necessarily needed. Am I revisionist historying that? Because I feel like we talked about that at the time.
Conceptually, you're dead on. He really wasn't like making adjustments for the sake of making adjustments. What he was doing was he ran such a medley of schemes all thrown together that like we'd be doing something that would be really working, and then he would just go away from it just to get other plays, on his play sheet.
Right.
And that's one of the things that drove me nuts with Beck. I liked his scheme. I liked the collections of schemes that he molded together into one offense. You had that kind of old school Nebraska option and a tailback run game element. You had some Oregon spread option stuff. You had some Baylor veer and shoot, Art Briles type of concepts mixed in there. So then you had a little bit of NFL passing game. Liked how it all kind of worked together, but the problem was because it was such a medley of tunes and not a system, he didn't know how to troubleshoot it when defenses went to take one thing away. So if they wanted to take our toss play away, when we ran toss 29 times against Penn State back in 2012, if they wanted to take that away, they didn't, but I'm just using it as an example. Then you got to start looking at ways, how are they playing the defensive end against your tight end on that block, because it's all dependent on the tight end's block. Tight end blocks the D end inside. The ball's going outside of the tight end. Tight end has to base reach the tight end and kind of blocks him out, or the D end blocks him out towards the sideline. The I back's going between the offensive tackle and the tight end. So he's just reading that block. So what happens when you run into teams that try to take that away, like Georgia in the bowl game that year? Well, are you going to run some outside zone and just get the ball in space in the traditional handoff? Or are you going to run G lead, try to kick that D end out with a guard, essentially trap him to the sideline? So those were things that Beck just didn't really have built into his offense. So when one thing broke, it wasn't something that you could reliably just go, okay, we're going to go to work fixing it. We're going to run this for a little bit. And then when they start trying to take this away, we can go back to our bread and butter.
2012 bowl game, Georgia. We won that game.
We lost that game.
That's right, we lost that game.
2 years. It was the next year that Tommy Armstrong hit Quincy Enunwa for 99 yards.
Okay.
And I damn near shit myself in excitement.
But we didn't play Georgia 2 years in a row.
Yeah, we did.
Apparently I've just negated the bad memories.
How many Yinglings back then, eh, Greg?
No, Yingling wasn't as readily available back then.
I can drive down to Rockport, Missouri and get it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it take me I don't know, honestly, get down there in an hour.
Do you live that close to Missouri?
Omaha, you can get to the Missouri-Iowa state line from Omaha in about an hour.
Huh.
Yeah.
Not that you want to, except to get Yingling.
No, I mean, yeah, Yingling. I'm not going down there for the porn or the fireworks.
Which, by the way, is about every exit on I-70. Good Lord.
Missouri, excuse me,
yeah,
is an interesting place. I like Lake of the Ozarks, but
Branson's fun.
I've never been to Branson. See, that's where it's really Missouri.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. So, back in the day, our friends at the Big Red Copcast.
Yeah.
May that show rest in peace. Not them. They're all doing fine, I believe. But they had on Grant Wistrom back in the day. Never, or several times, I mean. And a couple of years ago, my wife and I were in Branson, and we had to come up through, I guess, Springfield, Missouri. And I was like, oh, if it wasn't a Sunday morning, I'd want to see if I could track down Grant's shop. You know, the kind of shop that.
Yep.
And not to buy anything, but just be like, I heard you on the Big Red.
He's like, yeah, okay, guy.
But instead we ate at Cracker Barrel and booked it out to get the boys.
That sounds like a very Missouri experience there.
What's that?
Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrels are uniform, man. That's the beauty of Cracker Barrel.
I love. I've heard interviews from WWE wrestlers that say they love Cracker Barrel because it's so consistent.
Yep. I've read those same books.
Anyways,
Louisiana Tech.
I really think that this game gave Nebraska a lot of confidence that the run game that we were transitioning to being our core identity and the way that we were running the football could help us win. And I think that it gave us a little bit of gave us even more confidence going up against a team that liked to throw the ball as much as they did with the variety of formations and plays, that our defense, still could perform at a high level. So I'm not sure what Louisiana Tech finished the regular season with. I'm going to look it up real quick.
Well, you do that. I'll say
they were 6th in Conference USA. Oh, I'm making them out to be like the 85 Bears. They went 3-9.
Yeah. But
still, this team did have some athletes. We were able to win the matchups against their athletes.
They had DeColdis Crawford with his 2 receptions and 17 yards.
That's a name that, wow. Oh, that almost seems like a fever dream when he was at Nebraska.
Yeah.
The whole last 18 months of the Frost era just seems like a fever dream.
And coming in and getting that nil money from that HVAC company. Oh, man. Defensively, I didn't realize this, that Omar Brown co-led the team in tackles.
That's a guy we're going to miss in 2024.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean that dismissively.
It's a Sunday guy.
Okay, I just don't remember him doing. I guess he's one of those the best comparison that I can make. No, hold on. If
are you having a stroke?
I hope not. But who's one of the best defenders in the NFL that you really just never hear about on the national level? Most consistent. He's a team captain. He's a former Husker. Levante David.
Okay. I was thinking like a safety to make it a 1-to-1 comparison. So
I can't do that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is Omar Brown going to be that type of guy who just quietly goes about his business with few national accolades? Probably will never be a DPOY or anything like that. I mean, the only thing I have against Levante David is that he plays for the Buccaneers.
Yeah,
I have such respect for that. He's one of my for his limited time.
One of my all-time favorite Huskers.
Agreed. Same.
Like seriously, what he did against Ohio State, what he did against Iowa the first year we played him, when C.J. Fedorowicz pushes him down, goes and catches a pass, Levante David recovers, tackles it, punches the ball out, recovers it, and Fedorowicz gets nailed with a 15-yard offensive pass interference penalty. It's and then him stopping Silas Red on 4th and 1 against Penn State that year, the strip on Braxton Miller. I mean, the time that he stopped Daniel Thomas from Kansas State. I can go on and on.
Right.
One of my all-time favorite players.
Is Omar Brown going to be that type of guy? Again, not a 1-to-1 comparison because linebacker and
I think he could. He's a big, rangy safety, and as you're going to see a lot of teams, and you're already starting to see this trend in college and pro football, teams are starting to go back to 12 personnel on offense, one running back, 2 tight ends, and running the football, because it's that cyclical, arms race between offense and defense. Offense goes spread, defenses get lighter, they get faster to defend the spread, and then once these defenses are so fast and athletic and defend all 53 and 1/3 yards, wide of the football field, offenses start going, okay, well,
bulking up.
We're going to bulk up. You're going to in our lifetime, we're going to see the wishbone come back into vogue. You're already seeing the V formation come back into vogue as a short yardage package all across pro and college football. So like everything, it's just all cyclical. It's time's a flat circle, to quote Matthew McConaughey from True Detective. And so when you
say just like Novocaine, the split veer.
Shit, that might even the 1940s Notre Dame box offense might come back. I mean, I'd love for the 80s Nebraska offense under T.O., which I think was his best offensive scheme, just the old school option attack. I would love to see that come back, but they outlawed the fullback doing cut blocks on the perimeter, and you can't crack back block. So that's probably not coming.
Thanks a lot, Kenny Bell.
Omar Brown, I think, as you continue to see teams in the NFL transition to 12 personnel, inside, outside zone running games, and play action passing games built off that you're going to see a place for him as a big, rangy safety in the league. I hate the fact that he's with the friggin' Denver Broncos.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, like, Denver Broncos, I think people who've listened to the podcast know that I'm a Chiefs fan. I regard the Denver Broncos almost with the same disdain that I have for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
That's a
lot.
Bad. They don't have a children's hospital across the street that they can garner sympathy and support. And look what they did, like they do in Iowa City. So yeah, it's I can see that. Ooh, what about the Mile High Salute?
I just hate Denver, man. I just hate Denver. I know we're getting off track, but I'm going to tell a little story.
All right. We'll tell a story, and then I don't think there's a whole lot more meat on that La Tech bone, so we'll tell a story, and we'll get on out of here.
Back in like 2011 to 2015-ish, in that time frame, you walk into Oscars, best sports bar in Omaha, by the way. You walk in there on a Sunday afternoon.
Try to get that endorsement. Try to get that money.
Dude,
get that bag for us.
If I was on death row for whatever reason, my last meal would be an Oscars Big O pizza, 10 char-buffed buffalo wings, and a 6-pack of Coors Banquet.
Okay. Do they do 6-packs there?
They have Coors Banquet, or they used to. They don't have it anymore, so which makes me sad. But you'd walk in there on a Sunday and it'd be filled with either Packers fans or Broncos fans. As a Chiefs fan, Broncos fans in that era were always, the Chiefs aren't shit. They'll never win anything. And then so when the Chiefs went on that 7, almost 8-year win streak against the Broncos, that was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, because I did not let a single Broncos fan hear the end of it.
No, yeah.
I hate them more than I hate the Raiders, the Chargers.
The Colorado Buffaloes?
The Colorado Buffaloes.
Oh, wow. That's hate.
No. Actually, I hate Colorado way more.
I would hope so.
I'm a bigger college guy than pro guy.
I know. Is this Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill?
I hate Denver more than I hate the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I hate the Pittsburgh Steelers an awful lot.
I will bathe in your tears. All right, Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, is that on Lakeside Hills Plaza?
Yep.
All right.
Off 173rd and West Center.
There it is. Go and hey, it looks like they got some really nice pizza here. I mean, that looks like some really good pizza.
It's good.
The wings look sharp. They have a
good Reuben.
Ooh, they have spaghetti and breadsticks and tacos. I mean, it looks like is that steak? I see. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill looks like they'll have everything you need. Yep. You could tell them that we sent you, but they probably don't know who we are.
I may have kept the lights on in that place for a few years. Not like because they're struggling, just I went there a lot.
Yeah, well, you probably emptied out your fair cases of Coors Banquet over there too. So
there were a few times that when my friends and I were there, we'd be like, yeah, can we get another round of banquets? They'd be like, actually, we ran out. I'd be like, okay, all right.
So check them out. You won't be disappointed. That it comes directly from Haas Reuter. Yep. And for me, next time I get up that way, you'll take me there, Haas, and we'll have some pizza and some beers and some of those. What? Tell me again, what type of wings?
Char buffed.
I don't know what those are.
I don't know what the procedure is for them. They're just good.
Okay. Well, that'll do it for this episode.
I think I know what it is. They fry them and then they bake them.
That sounds nice.
They're very good.
Have you heard of like trash wings?
Mm-mm.
So it's like, you batter them, fry them, you sauce them, and then you fry them again.
Those sound really good too.
They are, especially on Super Bowl Sunday. One of the churches here in town that has Wing Fest, and we get wings from there every year.
I'm gonna find myself down in southwestern Illinois sometime,
brother. I got a couch you can stay on,
and hopefully a lot of Yingling.
I will make sure that it's here for you.
Perfect. We'll make it happen.
I'm so excited. Well, the plan is to try to get up there this fall myself to get to a Husker game with you. That is the plan. We're working on details, and my guy, I try not to bother him too much, but I'm like, hey, it's May. Well, how are you on those plans? And he's like, I'm working on it. So that's where I'm at. I said, let me know if I got to get tickets somewhere else. I just want to get up there, have that fellowship, and I don't know, maybe figure something out to do here for CornNation. But in the meantime, we'll be back next week. Hey, we're getting into conference play next week. Michigan. Oy, don't get me started.
Wolf.
But, hey, then we're going to have a lot of fun. I could share some of my experiences of going to the Illinois game last year as well. So that's all coming up down the pipeline. Not the pipeline. We talked quite a bit about that book, by the way, The Assembly Line.
Yes.
And
on my bookshelf.
They're going for close to $500 if you can find them online. So
I bought mine at Half Price Books in Omaha, still in the cellophane, for $3.
Is it still in the cellophane?
No, I took it out.
I was gonna say you've read it,
yeah,
front to back, cover to cover.
You know what the worst part is, though, Greg, is there were like 3 more copies,
and you didn't get me one.
And I just was like, grabbed it and didn't think of like, oh, maybe I should buy these other ones and sell them.
Could have put yourself through college that way.
Yeah, no shit. All right.
For my buddy Haas Reuter, thanks Haas for taking time out of your evening, and I'm Greg Mahochko. This is CornNation Overreaction Revisited, the Louisiana Tech version. So we'll see you next week. We'll get into conference play, the highs, the lows, and mostly the lows, but the highs too, here on CornNation on YouTube. And yeah, YouTube's the only one we do video on this. I got confused earlier. But podcast apps. Anyway, go Big Red.
All right, folks. Lift your weights, eat your Oscars pizza, win the damn off season.
Nice.